Hello, hello. I'm Michaelson. In Excerpt 11 of Letter 3, which we read today, the Spirit refers to Jesus' mixed feelings about his last trip to Jerusalem, among other things, among other feelings. The Spirit also refers to the famous episode of the cursing of the fig tree. Please enjoy the reading.
Letter 3, Excerpt 11. Jesus' last journey to Jerusalem. Powerfully mixed feelings. A fear for the crucifixion, of failure, of happiness for his moving on to the glorious existence awaiting him. His state of mind had been more or less consistently peaceful. The doubts and fears of the end drop his normal level of consciousness frequencies. His old aggressiveness returns. Unreasonable actions. First, the cursing of the fig tree. For the first time, his words cause harm to something. The power of thought for good or evil. What he had done to the fig tree would return to him inevitably in one way or another. The pain and argumentativeness I had aroused in my disciples also affected me deeply. It was no easy undertaking to go to Jerusalem where my fate awaited me. More than anything, I wondered how I would measure up to this great challenge of my endurance. Would I be able to transcend the physical condition and enter into universal Father consciousness and remain there until I died? At times, I was deeply frightened of the ordeal, but I dared not reveal this fear to my disciples. Therefore, I began my last journey towards Jerusalem with powerfully mixed feelings. On the one hand, I was weary of healing and talking and teaching people who listened with open mouths and had no real understanding of anything I was trying to tell them. I had thought that my knowledge would enable people to climb out of their misery and, at the very least, make contact with the Father and gain a glimpse of the kingdom of heaven. There had been no evidence of such a spiritual awakening even amongst my disciples. My disappointment and sense of failure made me glad to be moving on from earth life to the glorious existence I knew awaited me after my death. At the same time, I wondered how I would endure the pain of the crucifixion. Throughout my mission, I had lived in a more or less consistently peaceful, frequently exalted state of mind, with my thoughts focused on the Father love consciousness, author of all being, knowing that I had but to ask and what I asked for would swiftly manifest itself. Would I be able to keep my equanimity when brought before the council, when led out to my crucifixion, when nailed to the cross with my weight hanging from my hands? Because I was now giving way to doubts and fears, the normal level of my consciousness frequencies was dropping. They were taking me down into the frequencies of the earth plane consciousness. I became a prey again to my old aggressiveness, prompting me to unreasonable actions I would have never contemplated earlier when in my former state of total harmony with the Father love consciousness. My doubts and conflicts externalized in my life as human emotions and impulses which contravened the cosmic law of love. First, there was the episode of the fig tree. I was hungry and went to the tree, not really expecting to find fruit because it was not the right season for figs. When my search was unfruitful, I cursed the fig tree. 24 hours later, it was shriveled to its roots. It was a shocking experience. It was the first time my words had caused harm to anything. However, It clearly demonstrated for my disciples the power of thought for good or evil. It showed them that the more spiritually evolved a person is, the greater is the impact of their words on the environment. I took the opportunity to point out to my disciples that I had thoughtlessly behaved as does the average man or woman who, when having high expectations, cannot get what they want. They usually react with anger, tears, hostility, and even sharp words which might or might not amount to a kind of ill-wishing or cursing of the person who has denied them their heart's desire. They had now seen for themselves what my cursing had done to the fig tree. They should now be able to understand that while a strong conviction would bring about anything they might desire and imagine, they must also be constantly aware of their own mental, emotional condition. They must not harbor resentment against others, but must swiftly forgive. Otherwise, they would do much damage to those they resented, which damage would return to them in due course as a harvest of their sowing. Furthermore, as one sows, so does one reap. I knew that what I had done to the fig tree would inevitably return to me in one form or another.
Hi, so how was the reading today? As usual, please allow me to reread a few lines and make a short comment. First, there was the episode of the fig tree. I was hungry and went to the tree, not really expecting to find any fruit because it was not the right season for figs. When my search was unfruitful, I cursed the fig tree. 24 hours later, it was shriveled to its roots. It was a shocking experience. It was the first time my words had ever caused harm to anything. However, it clearly demonstrated for my disciples the power of thought for good or evil. It showed them that the more spiritually evolved a person is, the greater is the impact of their words on the environment. The power of thought. The power of thought. The power of thought for good or evil. The power of that motor sounding on the road has nothing to do with the power of thought. It is a minute, a worthless power compared to the power of your thinking and of your feeling, dear brother. I think I will never get tired of saying this to you on camera. And I have this hunch that most of my comments along the reading of these beautiful letters will be about this, about who we truly are and what happens with our lives, or what does our mind, our thinking, and our feelings, what do they do in our lives? Remember, dear brother, beautiful sister, divine brother, you are divine. You are divine energy. You're not a mere solid substance, a body that has something in it which is very special, very strange, which is a soul. And that soul has a special, totally uncertain destination. No. There is nothing solid under the sun. Remember this, brother. This is physical reality. tested and retested and retested and extra tested and super tested and ultra tested by us, modern man. Nothing solid under the sun. Think about that. You are energy, and you create your life for good or for bad. Stop clinging to a worthless set of beliefs, or stop clinging stubbornly to no beliefs at all, to believing that this is a materialistic world, that everything is just the outcome of sheer random occurrences. No, you are divine energy. Okay, that's my comment for today, folks. I love you all, I truly do. Thanks so much for being here today with me. Please click on the button below to subscribe to my channel. Give me a like if you like this video. And thanks so much for sharing with friends. Love you all. I truly do.